Hey everybody, it's Kim here. I'm getting ready to head out for my last craft retreat of this crazy spring season, but I wanted to show you a card I made the other day using the new double vision technique. You've probably seen this all over the place, and there's a couple of different ways you can do it. You can either have a double of the paper you're going to use for this cool technique, and so then you put down the first paper, and then the second one that's identical, you do the half-inch strips, and then you do the every other one mounted on dimensionals so that you have it raised like that, so it makes that really cool thing. However, I don't want to waste my paper by putting one underneath, because you don't really see the one that's underneath, you only see the one that's on top. So I and a lot of other people just do one layer of the paper and just judge it so that it is even like that. So I have a couple tips for you, since it is a little harder to do that if you're not using two pieces of your beautiful designer paper. So one tip is to mount your section of paper onto some thick cardstock, which is what I did here. I don't know if you can see that in the gap there, but I mounted it onto a thick piece before I cut it. And then you've got these nice stiff layers to work with, and it also makes it pop up a little better, I think, too, if you put it onto thick cardstock. And then you're just going to trim it exactly the same dimension around it, so it's completely covered. Now this particular one that I used was a panel from the Silly Old Bear designer paper, and the panel just happened to be this particular size, which is not exactly even with a card base, but it worked. If you're doing an even piece of designer paper, your strips are going to be a little taller than mine are. I started from one side, and I would not recommend that. I would recommend starting from the middle when you're laying down your pieces. Okay, first you're cutting them. Well, first you're putting them on the thick cardstock, then you're cutting them into half-inch strips, and do keep them in order because that is important. You don't want to have to be putting a puzzle together after you've got them all cut. So keep them in order. And then I would recommend starting from the center. So mark the center of your card with a pencil mark, and then count how many pieces you have. Try to keep them in your whole panel in a half-inch, so that you can have even half-inch pieces. And then see if you have an odd or an even number. If you have an odd number, then start one piece in the center where your pencil line is. If it's an even number, then have one on each side of the center, and then alternate popping up and laying down, popping up and laying down with the dimensionals. So it's really easy to do. Just try not to scoot your layers too far over. Try to keep them pretty well even. So if you do press down, I don't know if you can see that, if you press down on that one, you can see it's pretty much even with the one next to it. Although on this side, I think I went under a little bit on that, and it's very easy to do that if you don't have that extra one underneath to act as a pattern if you're trying to save your pretty cardstock like I am. And so that's one reason why you don't want to start at the end, because you might end up scooting it over, and then you'll have your margins won't be even. You can see mine are a little uneven there because I did start at the end, but this was my first one with this technique, so I had to learn a few things, and hopefully I can pass those tips on to you. So if you can try it, you'll have success with that fun technique, and it works great with any of the scenery papers. So pretty. And I used the Silly Old Bear suite, but I showed you a whole bunch of cards using the Pooh Bear images, but I was like, sometimes people might not want to have Pooh Bear, or they don't like the Winnie the Pooh, so it'd be fun to have something without using the bear, so any of the figures. So I noticed in the dies, they have these leaf dies. I think this particular set here, the Sweet Words and Labels, that has the Pooh little sentiments there, was kind of designed for fall because it has leaf dies and acorns. So besides these really lovely sentiment label dies, which are just beautiful. So if you're not a Pooh fan, you might want to get the dies just for those. And there's a fun kind of fall card with some fall leaves. And that's Golden Glow cardstock, by the way, which I didn't know, but I didn't realize, but I would be using tons of that, so I had to order another pack of it because I'm loving the Golden Glow cardstock, and it works great with the suite. If in case you wanted to see the other part of the suite, it's Sweet Old Friends, which has all the characters. Which is your favorite? I'm a Tigger fan, or at least I always was a Tigger fan, although Piglet's so cute too. All right, and there's all the cutouts. Now they're all so similar that, and it's that they're kind of packed onto the paper here, that I decided to trace around them with a pen, just so it'd be easier to set them back down. Or I could have grabbed one of my magnetic sheets too. So if I use it a lot, maybe I'll do that. But there's some also standalone dies here too. So there's some fence posts, and there's some bee hexagons. There's a tree stump for Pooh to sit on, and a honey jar, of course, and some more little leaves there. So just endless things you can do with that suite. But I will mention that the 100 Acre Wood large embossing folder here is already in low inventory. So I suspect these products will be with us for a while, probably maybe even a full year or more, but they will be in and out of stock as supplies, supply and demand works, and sometimes they may take a while to come because the dies in the folders are made in China, and so they have to take the long boat to get here. So if that folder was on your wish list, you might want to, I guess the map works better this direction. You might want to grab that soon. And then I hope you get to try that double vision technique with any of your, it'll work great with any of your scenery paper. And I'm not sure if I'll stop by again on Friday, but if not, have a wonderful weekend. Happy crafting.